Have you ever wondered what separates a malicious hacker from an ethical one? As we navigate through the digital age, the importance of ethical hacking becomes increasingly evident. This is a profession dedicated to enhancing the security of our systems, our data, and ultimately, our lives. Ethical hackers are the knights of the cyber realm. They wield their expertise not for harm, but for protection. They delve into the digital depths, seeking out vulnerabilities that could be exploited by those with less noble intentions. These vulnerabilities, once identified, provide valuable insights for improving system security. Far from the shadows of illegality, ethical hacking basks in the light of approbation. Organizations around the globe recognize its value, encouraging these cyber sleuths to probe their defenses and ensure their fortifications stand strong against any potential threats. But how do ethical hackers uncover these vulnerabilities? One key technique is called pivoting. Pivoting, in the realm of ethical hacking, is not about making sharp turns, but rather a method to navigate through a network. It's akin to a secret passage, a hidden door that leads to unseen parts of the network. But let's break it down a bit further. Imagine you're an ethical hacker, a white hat. You've gained access to a network and you're now inside the system. But here's the catch. The network you're in is just the tip of the iceberg. It's part of a larger infrastructure, a labyrinth of interconnected networks. Some of these networks are not directly accessible from where you are. They're hidden, secluded, locked away. This is where pivoting comes into play. Pivoting is the process that allows you, the ethical hacker, to move from the network you've initially accessed to another network within the same infrastructure. It's a bit like a relay race, where you pass the baton from one network to another. Only here, the baton is your access point, and the race is your journey through the network. But why would you need to pivot? Well, often the most valuable information, the real treasure trove, is not found on the surface. It's buried deep within the network. Pivoting helps you reach these remote and protected areas of the network. It allows you to traverse the digital terrain, to explore the hidden crevices and corners of the network. So in essence, pivoting is a technique that enables an ethical hacker to extend their reach within a network. It's a tool for exploration, a compass guiding you through the network's vast expanse. But remember, the goal here is not to exploit or harm, but rather to identify vulnerabilities, to highlight areas of improvement, and ultimately to fortify the network's security. Now that the concept of pivoting is clear, how does one actually pivot in ethical hacking? Let's delve into the process. Pivoting is a multi-step process that requires careful planning and execution. So let's break it down, shall we? Step 1, the initiation. This is where the hacker, or in our case, the ethical hacker, gains initial access to a network or system. The access could be achieved through various techniques. One of the most common methods is social engineering, where the hacker deceives a user into revealing confidential information, such as login credentials or personal data. Another approach is to exploit known vulnerabilities in the system. These could be unpatched software or weak security configurations. The ethical hacker uses these vulnerabilities not to cause harm, but to identify and help fix them. Moving on to step 2, the identification of the pivot point. Once inside, the hacker must then find a pivot point. This is a device or a system within the network that can be used as a springboard to access other networks or systems. It's like being in a maze and finding that one secret door that leads to previously inaccessible areas. The pivot point could be a poorly secured server, an unattended device, or even a user's computer with high-level access. The ethical hacker identifies these pivot points to highlight potential security risks. Finally, we arrive at step 3, the actual pivot. This is where the ethical hacker uses the identified pivot point to dive deeper into the network, accessing other systems and uncovering more vulnerabilities. The pivot could be achieved through various techniques such as port forwarding, VPN connections, or even deploying specialized tools. The aim is to explore, identify, and address vulnerabilities that could potentially be exploited by malicious hackers. Pivoting is a powerful tool in the arsenal of an ethical hacker, but like all tools, it must be used responsibly. Remember, the purpose of ethical hacking is not to exploit, but to protect. It's about ensuring the security of our digital world, one pivot at a time. In ethical hacking, pivoting is not just an option, it's a necessity. Let's summarize why we've dedicated so much time to discussing pivoting in this video. Pivoting is akin to the secret weapon of ethical hacking. It's the process that enables ethical hackers to navigate through a network, jumping from host to expose vulnerabilities that might otherwise remain hidden. Imagine the network as an uncharted territory. Without pivoting, an ethical hacker is akin to an explorer without a map, limited only to the areas they can directly access. But with pivoting, the hacker becomes an intrepid adventurer, able to traverse through the entire network, uncovering hidden passages and unseen vulnerabilities. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Ethical hackers are not just explorers, but guardians of the digital realm. They bear the onus of using their skills to protect and not to exploit. Pivoting, while powerful, must always be used with this ethos in mind. It is also worth noting that the ability to pivot effectively can greatly enhance the efficiency of ethical hacking operations. By enabling hackers to access remote parts of a network from a single point, pivoting minimizes the need for repeated, time-consuming infiltrations. This makes it a valuable tool for ethical hackers, not just in terms of network exploration, but also in terms of operational efficiency. So let's revisit the question: why is pivoting important in ethical hacking? It's simple. Pivoting allows ethical hackers to explore networks more thoroughly, find vulnerability that may otherwise go unnoticed, and do all this in a more efficient manner. So, while pivoting may sound like a complex maneuver, it's an essential part of ethical hacking. And remember, the goal isn't to cause harm, but to uncover weaknesses to make systems stronger.